Cuties everybody, my name is Envine and welcome to this video on how to read cards layouts. So we're going to start this video by dividing cards into three different groups: bronze cards, silver cards and gold cards, each group being stronger than the previous one. So a very important thing to understand is that the cards group is represented by the color of the frame. And this is a very important notion because the card group is going to determine the average power of a card. So this is why when you're building a deck, you're limited to using 6 silver cards and 4 gold cards because they are on average much stronger than bronze cards. So there's a big misunderstanding between card group and card rarity. So in Gwent, a card's rarity simply represents how likely it is that you're gonna get this card in a keg. You have 4 different rarities: common, rare, epic and legendary. And the rarity of a card is indicated by the color of the gem at the bottom right of the card and not by the frame. So a gold card is not always a legendary card. And this is very important to understand. If you're coming from Hearthstone, this is very different. So gold cards are the strongest, but it doesn't always make them the rarest. Sometimes silver cards can be legendary and gold cards can be epic. This is the case here with Aromancy and Theory, for example. Gold cards are supposed to be stronger than silvers, so this means something very important: rarity and power is not always proportional, which can be confusing. So as you probably know, cards can be exclusive to 5 different factions, or else if they can be played in any deck, we call them neutral cards. Identifying a card's faction is rather easy because each faction has a different and unique color. You can identify a faction by looking at the banner on the upper left, or else you can look at the really thin line inside the frame. So as we said, each faction has a different color. Monsters are red, Nilfgaard is black, Northern Realms are blue, Squirtle is green, Skellige is purple, and neutral cards have a little light brown banner. Now that we have split cards into 5 different factions, we're going to split them into different types. You have units and special cards. Units are the body of your army. They have a strength number indicated on their layout. On the other hand, special cards are generally events or spells that will interact with the other cards without staying on the battlefield. So all units cannot be played wherever you want. A specific position is generally indicated right under the strength value. This means melee units have to be played on the first row, ranged units have to be played on the second row, and siege units have to be played on the third row, the one closest to you. Some units can be played on either of the 3 rows, in which case they are called agile. All the units that you play on your side of the board are called loyal units. Any unit that you play on the opponent's side of the board is considered to be disloyal, and it's going to be represented by a red eye. So these units can be agile, or they can have a specific position indicated on their layout. Now we're going to talk about special icons. So these icons can be found on other cards. So the skull icon means that the card will have a special effect when it is removed from the battlefield. For example, the prize-winning card will spawn a chort when it dies. If you see an hourglass, this means that the unit has a timer. It means a special effect will trigger after a certain amount of turns when the timer reaches 0. If a card with a timer is played on your side of the board, the timer is going to go down when it is your turn to play. Another icon you might encounter is the flame emblem. It means a unit has a special ability, so be sure to read all the cards that have this icon whenever your opponent plays one. Generally, these abilities are sticky abilities that will interact with other cards as long as the card stays on the board. For example, Silk Drifa will gain strength whenever a unit is played from a graveyard, and Margarita will spawn a unit whenever a gold card appears on her side. The fire icon can also mean other kinds of abilities. For example, Olgierd will be resurrected at the start of each round. So that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. The next video to come is gonna be about the best cards to craft for each faction. To get your deck started, I'm gonna try to focus on the cards that bring the most value to your deck. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you very much for the feedback. It was much appreciated. I'll see you guys next time.